Behind America's school lunches are giant corporations many schools hire to manage every part of the meal, from budgets to choice of food.
The Italian taste of spaghetti and meat sauce. You can serve it today with new lunch bucket meals.
If your lunch tray smelled like mystery meat and industrial disinfectant, you're home. 30 forbidden school lunch nightmares once fed every kid in America, until health inspectors banned them forever. Let's walk back through those cafeteria doors and remember what we actually ate. Canned SpaghettiOs with tiny meatballs. You remember the metallic clink of that industrial can opener cutting through Chef Boyardee's finest. It's 1974, and you're staring at orange pasta rings floating in cold tomato water, the meatballs hard as rubber pellets. The smell hits you first, that artificial tomato sweetness mixed with cafeteria steam tables. Your plastic spoon scrapes against the sectioned tray, making that fingernails on chalkboard screech. The pasta feels slimy between your teeth, and those mystery meatballs bounce when you bite down. The orange sauce stains your lips like cheap lipstick, and everyone's mouth looks the same by meal's end. You'd trade anything for your mom's real spaghetti, but this was lunch, cold, processed, and somehow still the highlight of your day because at least it tasted like something familiar in a world of cafeteria unknowns. The gigantic, greasy, rectangular pizza slab. You remember that cardboard thick crust arriving on your tray like a construction tile. It's 1975, and you're holding a rectangle of bread topped with orange cheese-like substance that stretches like rubber cement. The grease pools in perfect circles across the surface, creating tiny lakes of trans fat paradise. Your fingers slide right off the edges, leaving permanent stains on your school clothes. The cheese pulls away in one unbroken sheet when you bite, dangling from your mouth like dairy silly string. The crust crunches like stale toast, and the sauce underneath tastes more like ketchup than anything Italian. But man, you loved every artificially flavored bite because it was pizza, or at least what passed for pizza in 1975, and pizza meant Friday, and Friday meant weekend. Milk in a waxed cardboard carton that exploded on impact. You remember the deadly gamble of opening that triangular carton without creating a dairy disaster. It's 1976, and you're carefully pinching those waxed corners, praying the milk doesn't shoot across the table like a Holstein geyser. The waxy coating feels slippery under your nervous fingers, and that cardboard smell mixes with the slightly sour milk scent. One wrong move and splat. White liquid everywhere, soaking into your sandwich and dripping onto your shoes. The milk tastes like it's been filtered through cardboard, which it basically has. Your tongue picks up that weird, waxy aftertaste that lingers long after lunch ends. The cafeteria ladies roll their eyes as they hand you more napkins, because every kid has been there, holding an exploded milk carton, wearing half the contents, wondering why they can't just use regular cups like normal humans do in the real world.
Libby makes 'em swing. Sloppy Joe's the thing.
Sloppy Joes on a stale bun with sauce that had no meat. You remember lifting that soggy bun and finding orange water pretending to be meat sauce? It's 1974, and you're staring at what looks like ketchup mixed with hamburger crumbs, sliding off your bread like runny finger paint. The bun feels like cardboard that's been left in the rain, soft, mushy, and completely unable to contain whatever's supposed to be inside. The sauce smells like Campbell's tomato soup mixed with cafeteria mystery, and when you bite down, it squirts out the sides like toothpaste from a tube. Your taste buds search desperately for actual beef, but find only salt, sugar, and food coloring. The texture is all wrong. Too smooth, too thin, too artificial. Jello salad with suspended fruit. You remember that wobbly rainbow sitting in its own little compartment like edible modern art. It's 1975 and you're poking at lime green gelatin with chunks of canned pears and maraschino cherries trapped inside like prehistoric insects in amber. The Jello jiggles hypnotically under the fluorescent lights, casting colorful shadows on your plastic tray. It smells artificially fruity, like someone liquefied a pack of lifesavers and added unflavored gelatin. Your spoon bounces off the surface before breaking through with a satisfying pop. The texture is simultaneously slimy and chewy, and those canned pears taste like sweet water with a hint of tin can. The maraschino cherries burst with artificial red dye that stains your tongue like you've been drinking Kool-Aid straight from the packet. But somehow, this jiggly science experiment feels like dessert. And dessert means lunch is almost over, which means you survived another meal in the cafeteria gauntlet. Fish sticks with unidentifiable white stuff inside. You remember biting through that golden brown coating and finding something that definitely didn't swim in any ocean. It's 1976, and you're holding a rectangular breaded mystery that crunches like cornflakes but tastes like nothing from the sea. The outside coating feels like sandpaper against your teeth, all artificial crunch with no substance underneath. Inside lurks this white, flaky substance that could be fish, could be chicken, could be processed cardboard. Nobody knows, and nobody's asking. The smell is vaguely oceanic, mixed with industrial fryer oil and desperation. Your tongue detects no actual fish flavor, just salt and the lingering taste of whatever oil they've been recycling since the Nixon administration. The texture falls apart in your mouth like wet tissue paper, leaving you wondering if you've just eaten something that once lived or something manufactured in a factory. The unsweetened applesauce in a giant can. You remember that institutional-sized can sitting on the serving line like a metal volcano of disappointment? It's 1975 and you're getting a scoop of beige mush that looks like baby food and tastes even blander. The applesauce plops onto your tray with a wet thunk, holding its shape like cafeteria Jello. It smells like apples that gave up on life somewhere between the orchard and your lunch tray. The texture is grainy and warm because apparently refrigeration was optional in the 1970s cafeteria world. Your spoon sinks into the mush like quicksand, and when you taste it, your face automatically puckers from the tartness. No sugar, no cinnamon, no joy. Just pureed apples that taste like they've been arguing with vinegar. The metallic aftertaste from the giant can lingers on your tongue. Peanut butter and bacon sandwiches. You remember the grease stains seeping through the white bread like edible tie-dye. It's 1974 and you're holding America's Heart Attack Special, creamy peanut butter slathered with crispy bacon strips that crackle when you bite down. The combination smells like Saturday morning breakfast mixed with your favorite after-school snack, creating this weird comfort food hybrid that makes your mouth water and your arteries cry. The peanut butter sticks to the roof of your mouth while bacon grease coats your lips like the world's most delicious lip balm. Each bite delivers this salty, sweet explosion that somehow works perfectly together, even though every adult in 2025 would call it nutritional suicide. The bread gets soggy from all that fat, but you don't care because this sandwich tastes like pure childhood joy wrapped in Wonder Bread.
Grilled cheese tastes so good.
Because I invented it.
Daddy!
I couldn't have done it without Kraft singles. So warm and crispy.
The overly browned, chewy grilled cheese sandwich. You remember that smoking rectangle arriving on your tray like charcoal masquerading as lunch. It's 1976 and you're staring at bread so dark it looks like it survived a house fire, with cheese melted into rubber cement consistency. The sandwich feels like a hockey puck in your hands, dense and indestructible enough to break windows. It smells like burnt butter mixed with industrial cooking spray, with just a hint of actual cheese trying to escape from its bread prison. When you bite down, your teeth bounce off the surface like you're chewing on leather. The cheese stretches impossibly long, creating cheese strings that could probably be used as emergency shoelaces. The bread tastes like toast that went to college and majored in disappointment. But somehow, this culinary disaster still counts as comfort food because it's warm, it's cheese, and it's better than the mystery meatloaf they're serving at the other end of the cafeteria line where kids are quietly crying into their mashed potatoes. Your jaw is getting tired, but there's still 21 more courses to survive. Hot dogs with sky-high nitrates. You remember those pink tubes of processed perfection rolling around on the steam table like edible chemistry experiments? It's 1975 and you're grabbing a hot dog that's probably more preservatives than actual meat, nestled in a bun that's seen better decades. The hot dog skin snaps when you bite it, releasing that familiar smoky flavor, mixed with enough sodium to de-ice a sidewalk. It smells like ballpark dreams and backyard barbecues, even though it's been sitting under heat lamps since breakfast. The texture is simultaneously mushy and chewy, like someone took real meat and ran it through a food processor with a bunch of chemicals you can't pronounce. Your taste buds celebrate the familiar flavor while your future cardiologist silently weeps. The powdered milk mishap. You remember watching the lunch lady dump white powder into a giant metal pitcher like she's conducting a chemistry experiment. It's 1974 and you're witnessing the creation of the chalkiest, lumpiest liquid ever served to humans outside of a medical facility. The powder refuses to dissolve properly, creating little white chunks that float around like dairy icebergs in a sea of disappointment. It smells like regular milk's distant, unemployed cousin who's given up on life. When you finally work up the courage to taste it, your tongue immediately files a formal complaint with your brain. The texture is grainy and thin, like someone mixed plaster of Paris with water and called it nutritious. Those undissolved lumps explode in your mouth like flavor grenades filled with chalk dust and regret. Even the most desperate kids push this away, choosing dehydration over drinking what tastes like liquid cardboard, mixed with the dreams of actual cows who died for better causes than this cafeteria catastrophe. Canned fruit cocktail drowning in syrup. You remember fishing through that sugar-sweet lake looking for actual fruit pieces. It's 1976, and you're armed with a plastic spoon diving into a bowl of canned paradise that's roughly 90% corn syrup and 10% fruit-shaped objects. The syrup clings to everything like edible honey, making your spoon stick to the bowl with every bite. It smells like artificial fruit punch mixed with diabetes in a can, sweet enough to make your teeth ache just from the aroma. The fruit pieces feel like rubber bouncy balls soaked in sugar water. The grapes are gray, the cherries glow radioactive red, and the pears taste like sweet cardboard. Chocolate-flavored milk with alarming sugar. You remember shaking that brown carton like a paint mixer because the chocolate always settled at the bottom. It's 1975, and you're about to drink what's basically liquid candy masquerading as a dairy product with enough sugar to fuel a rocket ship to Mars. The chocolate milk smells like cocoa powder mixed with vanilla extract and childhood dreams of unlimited dessert. When you finally get it mixed properly, it tastes like melted chocolate ice cream with a side of tooth decay. The sweetness hits your taste buds like a sugar tsunami, making your eyes water and your parents' dental bills skyrocket. It's thick and syrupy, coating your mouth like chocolate paint that refuses to wash away with regular water. Creamed chipped beef on toast. You remember that gray slop sliding off your toast like cafeteria quicksand? It's 1974, and you're staring at what the lunch ladies lovingly call SOS. And now you understand why those letters also stand for Save Our Souls. The creamed beef smells like canned dog food mixed with flour paste, with just enough salt to preserve it for the next ice age. It looks like wallpaper paste with mysterious brown chunks floating around like flavor islands in a sea of beige despair. Your toast immediately surrenders to the weight, turning into soggy bread mush that falls apart when you try to cut it. The taste is aggressively bland, like someone took beef, removed all the beef flavor, then added enough white sauce to drown a small village. The unnamed green bean casserole. You remember those sad green strings floating in mushroom soup like vegetables that had given up on life. It's 1975, and you're looking at green beans so overcooked they've lost the will to be crispy, swimming in a beige sauce that tastes like Campbell's soup mixed with disappointment. The casserole smells like Thanksgiving's depressed cousin who didn't get invited to dinner. Those green beans have the texture of cooked rubber bands, and they squeak against your teeth when you try to chew them. The mushroom sauce is watery and flavorless, like someone forgot to add the flavor packet to instant soup mix. Crispy onions on top have turned into soggy brown bits that crumble into nothing when you touch them. Deep-fried bologna sandwiches. You remember that sizzling circle of processed meat arriving on your plate like a greasy hockey puck with edges that curled up like a meat bowl. It's 1976, and you're holding a sandwich where someone took regular bologna, dunked it in hot oil, and somehow made it even more unhealthy than it already was. The fried bologna smells like county fair food mixed with childhood obesity, crackling and popping as the grease bubbles escape from every pore. Your hands immediately get slippery from the oil that's soaking through the bread, leaving permanent stains on your school clothes that your mom will discover at laundry time. The bologna has this crispy exterior that gives way to hot, salty meat that tastes like a hot dog's more aggressive older brother. The bread can't handle all that grease, turning into an oil-soaked sponge that falls apart in your hands like a delicious, heart-stopping mess. Sweetened Kool-Aid in large dispensers. You remember those giant glass dispensers filled with liquid rainbow that was probably 80% sugar and 20% food coloring. It's 1975, and you're choosing between electric cherry, atomic orange, or alien green, all of which taste like drinking liquid candy with a side of hyperactivity. The Kool-Aid smells like artificial fruit mixed with pure childhood joy, sweet enough to make your nose hairs curl from the sugar vapor alone. When you press that dispenser button, the liquid flows out thick and syrupy, staining everything it touches with permanent food coloring that turns your tongue into a rainbow advertisement. The taste hits your mouth like a sugar bomb exploded, immediately coating your teeth with enough sweetness to keep dentists in business for decades. Your lips turn whatever color you've chosen, creating a cafeteria full of kids who look like they've been eating crayons for lunch. Sugar-coated cereal with prize inside, no milk. You remember reaching into that individual cereal box like you're hunting for buried treasure. It's 1974, and you're eating Frosted Flakes or Lucky Charms straight from the box, because apparently milk was optional when sugar was the main ingredient. The cereal crunches between your teeth like sweetened gravel, leaving rainbow dust on your fingers and coating your mouth with enough sugar to power a small city. It smells like Saturday morning cartoons and parental surrender when moms everywhere gave up on proper nutrition and just wanted their kids to eat something, anything, before school started. Your fingers turn colors from the food dye as you dig around looking for that plastic prize that's probably worth about 2 cents but feels like winning the lottery. The cereal tastes like candy disguised as breakfast, which is exactly what it is, but in 1974, that was perfectly acceptable nutrition for growing children. That little plastic toy becomes your most prized possession, at least until you lose it somewhere between the playground and your desk, but the sugar high lasts all morning long.
Good-tasting 100% tuna fillet.
This is good-tasting tuna.
Tuna surprise with excessive mayo and celery bits. You remember that pale, chunky mixture that looked like cat food mixed with Miracle Whip. It's 1976, and you're staring at a tuna salad sandwich where the tuna is mostly mayonnaise with a few fish flakes thrown in for authenticity. The mixture smells like the ocean's distant cousin who works at an office building, fishy but not quite right, mixed with enough mayo to lubricate a car engine. Those celery bits crunch like tiny green diamonds in a sea of white mush, the only texture in an otherwise completely smooth landscape of processed fish product. Your sandwich bread immediately gets soggy from all that mayo, turning into a wet, fishy mess that falls apart before you can finish eating it. The taste is aggressively bland, like someone took actual tuna, removed all the flavor, then added enough mayonnaise to feed a small army. But somehow, this proteinish substance still counts as lunch, and you eat it because tuna is brain food, supposedly, even when it's been processed into cafeteria submission and served with a side of questionable dairy products.
Your bread with peanut butter and marshmallow fluff, and have a fluffer nutter.
The peanut butter pixie, peanut butter plus marshmallow. You remember unwrapping that sticky sandwich like you're opening a present made of pure sugar and childhood dreams. It's 1975 and you're holding what's basically a fluffer nutter on steroids, peanut butter mixed with marshmallow fluff, in proportions that would make a dentist weep. The sandwich smells like carnival cotton candy mixed with roasted peanuts, sweet enough to attract bees from 3 counties away. When you bite down, the marshmallow stretches like edible silly putty, while the peanut butter sticks to the roof of your mouth like delicious cement. Your teeth immediately get coated with sugar that refuses to wash away, even after drinking half your milk carton. The bread can barely contain all that sticky goodness, turning into a sweet, gooey mess that requires about 20 napkins to eat properly. But man, this sandwich tastes like pure happiness wrapped in Wonder Bread, the kind of lunch that makes you forget about math tests and playground bullies because you're too busy enjoying what's basically dessert disguised as a meal served with the school's official approval and your parents' unknowing consent. 6 bites in, and your tongue has officially surrendered to the sugar overload.
Dessert? I didn't make dessert. Oh, instead, I made some fun.
Tuna Jello salad. You remember staring at that wobbly green monstrosity, wondering which cafeteria worker thought combining fish with gelatin was a good idea. It's 1974, and you're looking at what appears to be a lime green science experiment with chunks of tuna floating around like protein icebergs in a sea of artificial flavoring. The jello jiggles hypnotically under the fluorescent lights, and you can see flakes of tuna suspended throughout like some kind of aquatic snow globe. It smells like the ocean crashed into a jello factory, creating this weird, fishy sweet aroma that makes your nose wrinkle in confusion. When you finally work up the courage to taste it, your brain immediately files a formal complaint because tuna and lime jello should never, ever meet in the same dish, let alone the same universe. The texture is simultaneously slimy and chunky, creating a mouth experience that your taste buds will remember forever for all the wrong reasons. But somehow, this culinary catastrophe still appears on lunch trays across America, proving that the 1970s were a wild time when food safety was more like food suggestions and nutritional guidelines were written in disappearing ink. Hard-boiled egg with green ring around the yolk. You remember cracking that rubbery white shell and finding a yolk that looked like it belonged in a chemistry textbook. It's 1975, and you're holding an egg that's been boiled so long it's developed its own ecosystem, complete with a green sulfur ring that smells like rotten vegetables mixed with industrial cleaning supplies. The egg white feels like a rubber bouncy ball between your teeth, requiring serious jaw action just to break it down into swallowable pieces. That green ring around the yolk looks like the egg equivalent of a mood ring, changing colors based on how overcooked and abandoned it feels. The smell hits you before you even take a bite. pure sulfur dioxide mixed with the tears of chickens who died for this culinary disaster. Your taste buds immediately stage a revolt because this egg tastes like it was boiled in Satan's hot tub, complete with enough sulfur to clear out an entire cafeteria. But protein is protein, supposedly, so you choke it down while wondering if this violates some kind of international treaty about cruel and unusual punishment disguised as nutrition. Home-canned vegetables without pressure cookers. You remember those mason jars lined up in the serving area like little glass bombs waiting to explode with flavor, or botulism. It's 1976 and you're about to eat vegetables that were canned using methods that would make modern food safety inspectors faint dead away on the cafeteria floor. The vegetables smell like they've been sitting in their own juices since the bicentennial, with that slightly off aroma that makes you wonder if they're still technically food. The green beans are gray, the corn is mushy, and everything tastes like it's been pickled in fear and processed through someone's basement canning operation. Your spoon makes that distinctive squish sound as it cuts through vegetables that have given up their structural integrity somewhere between the jar and your plate. The flavors are muted and strange, like regular vegetables viewed through a funhouse mirror of questionable preservation techniques. But somehow, these potentially dangerous vegetables still count as your daily serving of nutrition, because in 1976, homemade was always better than store-bought, even when homemade meant playing Russian roulette with your digestive system.
Both fresh tasting and 100% pure apple juice. No sugar or preservatives added.
Tastes terrific, Mom.
Make sure of the taste.
Unpasteurized fruit juice at farm stands. You remember those handwritten signs advertising fresh squeezed juice that was probably squeezed by hands that had never heard of sanitizer. It's 1975 and you're drinking apple cider that tastes like autumn and childhood innocence, but also carries enough bacteria to start its own small civilization in your stomach. The juice smells like fresh apples mixed with barnyard authenticity, thick and pulpy with bits of apple floating around like tiny life rafts in a sea of unpasteurized adventure. It tastes amazing. Real fruit flavor that's been squeezed by actual humans instead of industrial machines, sweet and tart and alive in ways that modern juice can never match. Your taste buds celebrate while your immune system quietly prepares for battle because this juice is basically a probiotic smoothie mixed with whatever was living on those apples when they got pressed.
With a Swanson dinner, you really get your money's worth. Like chopped beef, it's all beef. All sirloin beef.
It's the next best thing to you.
The gelatinous Salisbury steak with brown gravy. You remember that oval-shaped mystery meat sliding around in brown sauce like it's trying to escape from your plate. It's 1974, and you're cutting into what's supposedly beef, but feels more like flavored rubber mixed with breadcrumbs and hope. The Salisbury steak has the texture of a kitchen sponge that's been soaked in meat-flavored water, bouncing back when you press it with your fork. It smells like beef bouillon mixed with cafeteria desperation, swimming in brown gravy that's probably just flour and food coloring pretending to be sauce. When you finally take a bite, your teeth sink through the outer layer and hit something that might be meat, might be textured vegetable protein, might be the dreams of cows who died for better causes. The gravy tastes like salt water mixed with brown crayon, coating everything on your plate in a sauce that makes even the mashed potatoes taste like disappointment. Mock apple pie made with crackers. You remember biting into that golden crust expecting apple chunks and finding saltine crackers swimming in cinnamon syrup instead. It's 1976, and you're eating a dessert that's basically lying to your face, pretending to be apple pie while actually being a Ritz cracker casserole with delusions of grandeur. The pie smells like apples and cinnamon, but when you look closer, Those aren't apple slices. They're soggy crackers that have absorbed enough sugar water to fool your taste buds for about 3 seconds. The crust is real enough, flaky and buttery like actual pie, but underneath lurks this weird cracker filling that crunches in all the wrong ways. Your brain keeps trying to process apple flavors while your teeth encounter salty crackers, creating this cognitive dissonance that makes you question everything you know about dessert. The cinnamon and sugar work over time to disguise the cracker base, but you can still taste that distinctive saltine flavor trying to break through the sweet facade. Lead-soldered food cans. You remember that metallic taste lingering in your mouth after every canned vegetable serving, like licking pennies mixed with childhood memories. It's 1975, and you're eating directly from cans that were sealed with actual lead solder, because apparently heavy metal poisoning was just another ingredient in the great American lunch experience. The canned peaches taste sweeter than they should, with that slightly metallic aftertaste that makes your fillings ache and your parents' future medical bills skyrocket. Every spoonful delivers a little dose of lead along with your vitamin C, creating a generation of kids who probably glow slightly under X-ray machines. The can opener leaves those sharp metal shavings around the edges, and sometimes you accidentally eat a few because quality control was more like quality suggestions back then. Your tongue picks up that distinctive metallic flavor that coats your mouth like edible aluminum foil. But you keep eating because canned fruit is still fruit, supposedly, even when it's been preserved using methods that would horrify modern food scientists. The pink mystery meat. You remember that unnaturally pink substance that looked like it had been dyed with Easter egg coloring and processed through a Play-Doh machine. It's 1974, and you're staring at meat that's pinker than bubble gum, shaped like a perfect rectangle because apparently livestock naturally grows in geometric shapes. The mystery meat smells like hot dogs mixed with industrial preservatives, with just enough salt to mummify a pharaoh for the next 1,000 years. When you bite into it, the texture is simultaneously squishy and chewy, like someone took real meat, removed all the meat qualities, then added enough chemicals to make it bounce. Your taste buds search desperately for familiar flavors, but find only salt, nitrates, and the tears of whatever animal sacrificed itself for this cafeteria catastrophe. The pink color is so bright it practically glows under the fluorescent lights, creating this neon meat experience that your brain can't quite process as food. Nobody asks what's in it because nobody really wants to know, and the lunch ladies just smile and say it's protein product. Tuna surprise, again? You remember groaning audibly when you saw that familiar pale mixture making its second appearance on your lunch tray this week. It's 1975 and you're facing down Tuna Surprise Round 2 because apparently the cafeteria staff thinks repetition is the key to culinary success, even when success means barely edible protein paste. This version has even more mayonnaise than last time, if that's physically possible, creating a white, gloopy mixture that looks like spackling paste with fish flakes. The smell hits you like déjà vu mixed with low tide, fishy and processed, and altogether too familiar for comfort. Your sandwich bread immediately surrenders to the mayo overload, turning into a soggy mess that requires advanced engineering skills just to lift to your mouth without everything falling onto your lap. The taste is exactly the same as Monday's disaster. Bland fish mixed with enough mayonnaise to lubricate heavy machinery, seasoned with the disappointment of knowing you'll probably see this exact same meal again next Tuesday. But you eat it anyway because lunch period is only 30 minutes long, and complaining about repeat performances won't make the mystery meat any less mysterious or the Jello any less jiggly. Milk that turned before lunch. You remember that first sip that made your entire face scrunch up like you'd been sucking on lemons for the past hour? It's 1976, and you're holding a carton of milk that's gone from dairy product to science experiment, complete with chunks floating around like cottage cheese that nobody ordered. The smell hits you before you even open the carton, that distinctive sour milk aroma that makes your nose hairs curl and your stomach immediately file a formal complaint with management. When you finally work up the courage to taste it, your tongue immediately goes into revolt mode because this milk has turned into liquid yogurt without the health benefits or intentional flavor development. That's 30 banned lunches that somehow built character and immune systems simultaneously. Which forbidden food triggered your strongest cafeteria flashback? Drop your survival stories below. Let's compare our nutritional war wounds. Next week, classroom supplies that could kill you. Subscribe for more nostalgic nightmares from our educational past.